gained in value, just 8 that lost in value. Dangote Flour was the top gainer, up by 9.9%. Union Diagnostics was down, I think, by 6.5% as far as the top loser was concerned. So the first thing I'm doing is attending to Felix comment yesterday, or question rather. Felix, like this since last week, Felix asked about ETFs, exchange traded funds, and he was asking about, I believe it was commodities. So, Felix, I did a little homework. Back in 2011, the NSE introduced the new gold exchange traded fund, which I believe is also trading on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, and it's supposed to be able to track gold, right, which is the one commodity I see here that's available on the Nigerian Stock Exchange for trading. So they introduced it to add liquidity, and as of right now, I believe as of yesterday, the ETF was trading at 4,365 naira. So that's how much it's trading per share. So ETFs trade like stocks. The thing, though, Felix, anybody else that's wondering, is liquidity. I talked to a number of brokers about this. Also, Olamide, if she had been given it, if I hadn't run out of time, this is what she was going to actually say as well, is that there's a lack of liquidity. So by that, not that many people are trading in this particular ETF. Again, it's the new gold ETF. However, if you're interested in trading on it, just contact your broker, any broker that is out there. We've got several of them. You open a brokerage account, put your money in there, the same money that you used to buy shares and so on. You just tell them, hey broker, I'd like to buy X amount of shares of the new gold ETF. But once again, liquidity is an issue. So not that one, it's awareness and interest. Not that many people are aware, not that many people are interested. So if you have any further questions, Felix, or any comments, please send them in. Okay, let's see now. Valentine, if INEC was a business, would you
invest in it?
Would you invest in it? Would you work there? Would you suggest any reforms?
So yes, I would. I would invest. Would I work there? I've worked there before. Would I work there again? No.
Okay, well, thanks for your honesty. I appreciate that. Look, I think they've covered 12 states so far. The president has a lead. He's leading by about he has about 2.98 million votes. The main opposition candidate, Mr. Atiku, has 2.69. So the president is ahead about 290,000 votes. And to be honest, if you're projecting this based on the results that are out, the president is in a very strong position so far to win. I don't know where Atiku is going to get the rest of his votes from. But in 12 hours, Valentine, yesterday, between 11:30 a.m. and I think they stopped at about 10 hours, I think, between 11:30 and about 9:30, they only covered about 10 states, yeah? It was an incredibly laborious process. I don't know how many people were watching, but they were sitting, the panel was sitting on a stage, they had a microphone, they were using Excel sheets. I mean, they put a table in, and then one by one they would read the parties that are competing and then the number of votes that they have for each particular state.
Still using a cake methods for computing information.
And looking at Nigeria and just gauging people who are watching this on TV and then on social media, Nigerians are losing patience with the process, right? And they want something that's much faster and much more efficient. We have to seek an electronic way of doing this going forward.
Like you said, borrowing your words, it's efficiency over speed.
Well,
they have to they have to go through that laborious process to make sure that every single T is crossed and I is dotted, and all the resident electoral commissioners get to Abuja.
Right.
Because there's one thing to collect all the results from your location. There's another to transport it to Abuja.
Right.
Make sure that everything gets there in time.
Well, but see, this is the issue. And when you now talk about the mode of governance of Nigeria and how, think about the FAC, right? Federal Accounts Allocation Committee.
Yes.
Money comes in, we get oil, right? It's now disbursed from the center to the states,
yes.
Right? If you think about the economic efficiency of states, that they are not allowed to do certain things when it comes to being able to maybe set their own what's it called now? When it comes to how they operate, everything is operated from the center. So exactly what you just mentioned now, everybody, the individual states, they have their results, yet they have to come to the center, to Abuja, to disburse it.
One would expect, as they have started using the smart card readers, they could also have tools, a simple email, an encrypted email channel through an encrypted network, sending their results. and it gets there in a flash.
Valentine, do the show for yourself. Just take over. Thank you. That is exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm just wondering, what year are we in again?
Yes.
2019.
Right. And so you see, this is one of the when you think about how operating as a functional economy, there has to be, and this is a microcosm of our issues. The states have to be able to operate individually when it from a number of things. When it comes to releasing these results. And then so send that over, like you just said. That's the best way to do it. And then that now goes into salaries. It goes into state police. It goes into so many of these things. So they're saying they're going to continue today. Now I think Plateau is the first state they'll continue with, and then maybe Benue. Sorry. It may take another 10 hours. I'm tired because it's my job to track this thing in case people ask me, and I'm just extremely tired, man. We really look at Senegal. I'm sorry to bring up Senegal. Most people have been pushing back on this Senegal thing because they had an election within a day or so. Although I hear that the official results won't be out until
Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they're moving faster, and I know that Senegal is only like 15 million people there. But look, as far as the electronic method is concerned, we really have to push. And I've seen some people there. People are really pushing for this electronic voting thing. We'll have to see how it works. Maybe we'll do a test case. Anyway, moving on. Still on tech, kind of. This is kind of tech. We have officially 36.8 million BVN, or 36.8 million bank accounts that are linked to BVNs as at February the 17th. So this is from NIBS, the Nigerian Interbank Settlement Scheme. They are giving us official figures now. So the last time anytime you ask me about BVN figures, I would throw out 30 million. I've been throwing out 30 million. So it looks like there's been some growth, yeah? And so what are we doing with this BVN figures, right? Look, or rather BVN. They said they introduced it in 2014. They said it was, biometric information that's meant to cut down on fraud, identity theft, and so on and so forth. This is another avenue through which you can use if you want to look at electronic methods of doing things. Valentine, what are we doing with our BVNs? if you talk about the identity issues we have in Nigeria, I know it's only 30 million. Where much financial inclusion is an issue.
Yes.
There are many people that are unbanked and don't have BVNs, right? But tying this back again to the election or electronic methods of identifying people.
To be honest, this is one of the areas that I thought it was going to be used to, effectively implement or get results or get their numbers, collate their numbers.
Exactly.
When they introduced BVN, so it's like, when it came into play, I thought first census address.
Right.
Second, bank tallies, understanding how many people are banking in Nigeria and getting their details addressed. Then INEC elections. I
Exactly.
thought that would have been a no-brainer. For the fact that you articulate everybody's information and it's all centralized with the Central Bank of Nigeria. How about collecting that data?
What are we using? What are we using it for?
Even if it's just for comparative analysis.
Exactly. You're reporting these numbers. By 2023, I don't know. I'm projecting. We might have, I don't know, 40 million BVNs or 45 million. Who knows? But at least you take these 36 million now and say, okay, you vote electronically or we'll track you, and then we've reduced the number of ballot papers, and now for those in the rural areas, you still do your old method but at least you reduce the burden.
Let me ask you a question. What is more important to you? Forget that, yes, it's very important for you to vote and have your PVC.
Right.
But right now, as a Nigerian, what's more important to you, your PVC versus your ATM card?
I say ATM, I need money.
So
I need to be able to
as your ATM card is.
Right.
How about applying? Okay, the banks always add some privacy and everything.
Yes.
ATM, and now the process has been so seamless. It now has reduced the timing for you to collect an ATM.
Right.
Has reduced to like 5 minutes.
Exactly.
How about applying the same thing to production of PVCs?
Right.
Should
we go and run the banking system in this country? Nigerians have these conversations between themselves, and it's just a straightforward, easy thing.
Be difficult?
Anyway, part of the update also from the CBN, they're introducing something called GSI, which is a global standing instruction. This is with regards to loans. They're going to introduce this later on this year. The global standing instruction is going to work with BVN numbers in order to detect bad borrowers who refuse to pay their loans but plan to take another loan from an unsuspecting bank. So at least I'll give them props here. They are at least so using the BVNs now.
Yes.
If I go and borrow money from one bank and I don't pay it back, and then I try to go to another bank and borrow money again, this GSI, this global standing instruction, will say, Rotus is a bad right. Don't this other bank, don't give him money.
Yes.
So at least I'll give them props. They are doing that. But
Rotus, we have a lot of messages.
Okay, yes, let's take our messages.
Cruz here says, Lagos, thank you very much for tuning in. You're listening to Business Express 981 as part of Smooth Breakfast here on Smooth 98.1. Cruz says they do not need to go through that laborious process. It's just a lack of trust that has allowed such a gruesome and time-wasting process to remain our way.
Cruz, I agree.
And EK says, guys, what did we expect when Buhari refused to sign the electoral bill that would have allowed electronic transmission?
Yep.
Ugo from Surulere says, to think that professors are championing this crude election process is pathetic and summarizes our future. We need help in this country. And please add your names to your messages so we can take them. We do not have a name to this next one. So Papi K here says, the most backward coalition ever seen, as he said, I will invest, then overhaul from top to bottom. That parochial ideal of using old school professors as resident electoral commissioners, manual processing, a teenager geek plus few admin managers that will run this entity faster and better. How much we have locked down on top election, unthinkable. Hashtag electronic voting.
What was the budget? 187, I think it's 189 billion is there, is our next budget.
Yes. Rainmaker says, God bless you, Rotus. I thought I was just being cynical by asking for too much from INEC. Senegal here, though, with about 24 million people, conducted election a day after. Rotus, if we cannot have e-voting because the level of illiteracy and lack of trust, we should encourage electronic collation. Why can't polling units upload results to individual state chapters of INEC and the RECs upload as soon as it is ready, upload to the National Collation Center? Why? It's annoying to see our dear professors develop slight issues on international states. He goes on.
Look, Rainmaker,
I'm
with
to
you.
send somebody to go and collect it. Olumide says, obviously, Rotus has no influence and thank
you. Thank you for the message.
And Ibrahim says, I totally agree with you guys. We need to be more effective with our database management in this country. We have so much parastatals and I have data, e.g. FRSC, immigration, you name it. It's just pathetic. And that's what
Ibrahim.
And Yinka says, wow. Rotus, this is annoying. This is a deliberate action, either by INEC or some selfish people. An average Nigerian has a minimum of 3 biometrics lying down somewhere. Name it FRSC, passport, SIM registration, BVN. Why can't we harmonize it? And these guys at INEC call themselves professors. Professors of what? Okay, the president is not a professor, but his vice is a prof. Can't he advise them? It is annoying. Did you see? Okay, we're not talking bodies.
There was I know what he's referring to. There was an issue. Oh man. Anyway.
Now Felix says, well, thank you for the response. Can you talk more on real estate? Because I do not really hear more of real estate.
Funny enough, we've run out of time. But you know what? There was a developer. I think it was UT Homes. They were opening on a new project in Mowe. They were advising the government on low-cost housing. But I found the story ironic because they are introducing just 10 units of luxury homes while saying, I think it was luxury and middle to low income, low cost homes, while saying that the government needs to get involved with reducing the 17 million housing unit deficit in the country. So
how many houses now? 10?
But they're only introducing 10 units. So at that pace, it's very, very slow. But Felix, if you want to move to Moe, it's a gated community. They have their own water and light. I'll talk more on real estate. No problem.
Maybe it's just a test. They're just trying to see.
It could be a test, but I think private sector also has to, if you want to tell the government that they should provide low-cost housing, and also mortgages, sorry, the company, that's the most important part of the story. UT Homes was saying that they are going to introduce mortgages to allow people to pay monthly towards owning their homes. But then it's in Moe, we're here in VI, so I don't know how I can get your home out. You see infrastructure, so we need a light rail. I would easily
transport system.
Right, so just park your car.
It's a no-brainer to try to go from First Stack to VI if you have.
See, me and Valentine, we're forming a ticket. We're running for office in 2027. Let's just solve this problem, this country's problem. Thank you all for your messages. Did we finish? Did we finish all the messages?
We tried.
Okay, we did the best we could. All right. Cool.
Thank you, Rotus.
Thank you, Val. Thanks, everyone.
Hit him up on Twitter at Smooth981FM at Rotanquotes.
Yes.
ROTANKWOT.
Yes, sir.
Lagos, coming up next in 30 minutes, we talk detailed analysis of our newspaper stories this morning inside of Freshly Pressed 981. But between now and then, great music from Justin Timberlake, Adrian Cruz, and Give Love, and some others. Really fantastic music here at Smooth 98.1.
Thank you.